emodels.co.uk. Make something awesome. Hey everyone, Foxx here. Quick tutorial video for you. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use C1 Metalizer Buffing Powder. If you don't know what this is, it's basically a metallic powder that you can apply to your models, buff off, and it gives a beautiful chrome metallic effect with no effort whatsoever. It's dead easy to use, it's really hard to mess it up, and I love this stuff, so I'm going to show you how to do it. I know I've covered this before in other videos, but I've never done a dedicated how-to video. So let's have a look inside the box. So if we open the box, inside you find all kinds of things. We have a little brochure that explains all about the powder and how you use it. We have the powder itself, which comes in this very nice little container. It's wrapped in a bag, and you'll understand once you start using it, you'll understand why it's in a little bag of its own. We have a pair of disposable gloves. You get some little applicators for applicating, obviously, little cotton pads. And one other thing you get in the box is very important, is this little breathing mask. It's just a small dust mask to stop you breathing in the powder. The powder does go over, it's very, very fine, so it gets very easily airborne, and it's important you don't breathe it in. So we have a little mask. That's everything that comes in the box. What else will you need? One thing you are going to need is newspaper, and trust me, you need newspaper. This stuff, when you get it out of the tub, even if you're as careful as you can be, it's going to go everywhere. And like I said, it's very fine powder, it's easily airborne, and the last thing you want is to get it on your work surface, on your table or your workbench. If you're like me and you've got a workbench, if you're working downstairs in the kitchen or something like that, and you get it on the table, it's quite tough stuff to get out, and the last thing you want to do is annoy your better half or your mum by getting it into the furniture. So trust me, put down some paper, you'll thank yourself. Next, you'll need the thing you're going to metallicize. Is that even a word? Metallicize. I don't think it's a word. Anyway, you'll need the thing you're going to make shiny. In this case, I'm using the lid off a cocktail stick dispenser. Now, if you've used metallic paints before, you'll know the best way to get the deepest, most reflective chrome effects is to start with a gloss black base. We're going to do exactly the same. Now, you can just go ahead and prime it with whatever primer you want, and then apply a gloss black paint. Acrylic, enamel or lacquers, any of those will do. Doesn't matter what the paint is, as long as it's acrylic, enamel or lacquer, and it's glossy, it's shiny black, and it's smooth. That's all that matters. I'm actually going to kill two birds with one stone, and instead of primer and paint, I'm going to use a gloss black primer. I'm going to use the Ultimate Gloss Black Primer from Ultimate Modeling Products. Now, if you can't get this stuff, don't panic. It's exactly the same stuff as Badger Steinel Res or Ammo one-shot primers. They're all the same thing, they've just got different labels. So one of those three will be available to you. I'm just going to use this because it saves me doing a primer and a paint coat. I can do it all in one go. It just gives a beautiful glossy finish. The only other thing you'll need, just in the off chance, is some cotton buds, or Q-tips as our colonial cousins would call them. And this is just when you get to the buffing stage, it's just a case of if you need to get into little crooks and nannies, these will get you sorted out. We have those, we have our primer, or paint and primer if you're not using just a glossy primer. The thing we want to paint, cotton pads, C1 Metalizer, mask, gloves, applicators, and there's another glove there. That's all we're going to need, and the newspaper. So let me go and get everything ready, and we'll metallicize. That's not a real word, Sam. Okay, so first things first, we need to get this shiny black. So I'm going to use my airbrush. You ready? 3, 2, 1. It took me years to get that technique down. So there we go. So now we've got it shiny, glossy black. Next, take the powder, move that to one side. Take the powder, and you'll see, or just by opening it, I've already got mess. This is why you put paper down. Now I've got the mask on. I'm trying not to breathe on it though. Whatever you do, don't cough or sneeze when this tub is open. You'll just have ultimate sadness if you do. And this couldn't be easier. Take the powder and the applicator. Dip the applicator in the powder. And just gently apply it to the surface. You don't need to put on a lot of pressure, just use the weight of the applicator, let it do its work. At this point you're not trying to buff it, you're just trying to get it on the surface. Give yourself a nice thick and even coat of the powder. Now I've got newspaper down, but I'm actually working on a couple of sheets of A4 on top of the newspaper. The newspaper's there to stop my workbench getting covered in powder. The A4 is there so that when I've finished I can take the powder, bend up the paper and put the powder back in the pot. So it's worth doing that as well, just because, you know, this powder will last you for years, but there's no sense in throwing it away. Now you can add as much as you like, but you can see there we've got a nice, looks like lead, looks like a dull leaden surface. I'm just put that on there, tap all the excess off, and put that down to one side. I'm going to very carefully put the lid back on. I'm going to clear this paper away for the next step, so back in a second. Okay, so like I say, you've got this kind of leady finish now, which looks quite nice by itself, but we need to buff this now. So as soon as you've got the powder on there, I've tied it up, all you need to do is get your little cotton pad and quite simply, gently buff. Use little circular motions, straight motions, however you fancy it, doesn't really matter. I'm not putting on a lot of pressure, I'm being quite gentle. Okay, and with just a minute or so of gentle buffing, I've been to answer the front door, so I had to take my gloves off, but a minute or so of gentle buffing and we now have this wonderful metallic effect, this chrome metal surface that doesn't look like it was ever plastic. Now you see I've got my gloves off and I can actually, I'm not really fussed because I can handle this quite roughly and there's no transfer to my hands. What you can see on there is actually from this, because I've been using that without my gloves on. That's the staining on my hands, and the fingerprints that came onto here, you can just wipe them off and you buff it a little bit more when you do that. So it's a really durable surface. If you're going to put it in a cabinet or something like that and never touch the model again, you don't need to gloss varnish it. If you really must gloss varnish it, do be aware that, like with any metallic surface, it's going to lose a little bit of its luster and depth when you gloss varnish it, because that's the nature of going over metallics. It will happen, it won't look exactly the same. Just by the gloss black and the powder you get this beautiful deep dark chrome effect. You can go over with more powder if you want to kind of brighten it a little bit, or if you want to change things up a bit, if you want quite a bright chrome effect, maybe not quite as deep but quite bright, before you put the powder on, and on top of the gloss black or gloss black primer, you could go over with some bright metallic paint. For example, I particularly love the Vallejo acrylic metal colours, Duraluminium 77702, very lightly sprayed over the black to give some highlights, and then the powder on top gives a really bright silver colour. That's what I did with the thrusters on the Eagle Transporter, and instead of a chromy, deep chrome effect, it gave a really bright, shiny aluminium look. So it can be used in concert with other metallics for certain effects. You can also put different colours underneath. It doesn't make a matte. You're not going to get gold by putting a yellow colour underneath, yeah, a yellow gloss, but it might have a bit of an effect. It's worth trying anyway. So there you go. It's dead easy to put on, buff it off, done. It's very durable, it'll withstand handling. You can gloss varnish it if you really have to. You can put decals directly over it. I wouldn't recommend any decal setting solutions. And you can use weathering products such as enamel washes and things like streaking grime and stuff over the powder bare without any protection to get various tarnishing effects. It's quite good to do that. But that's it. Dead simple. So that's going to do us. Do go and get some. Go and try it out. It's really good stuff. You really can't beat it. I love this stuff. emodels.co.uk is where you can get it from. Brilliant stuff. Go and check it out. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. And until next time, adios amoebas.